this video, we will take a quick look at Alvida, legendary grade debuffer class Elune. Her base stats for HP, attack, and speed are good, allowing her to be a little tanky while still doing good damage at a fast pace. As she is upgraded through Transcendence, she becomes a very good threat in a DPS role as well as a primary role as a debuffer with her high base attack. Her normal skill anchors away as a frontline target-only attack that can also hit any enemy Elune on the front line that are directly next to the target. In most PvP cases, this will not come into play until you start attacking the back line. The damage of the skill is okay, but it is lower than many other Elune normal skills because of its potential for AoE damage. Alvida's special skill, Steel Rain, is an AoE attack that hits enemy Elunes multiple times and applies a weakening effect that reduces the attack speed of the enemy Elunes. The attack speed reduction amount increases as the skill level increases, but not at each level. The final attack speed reduction is very high and can allow your team to outpace the enemy team in battle. Alvida's ultimate skill, Ruthless Bombardment, is another AoE attack that deals damage over multiple hits and applies a weakening effect to reduce the attack power of the enemy by a certain percent. As the skill level increases, so is the amount of the attack power reduction, ending at a max of 80%. This almost negates the attack power increase buff the enemy might have if their team is using Weiwei. The first passive skill that Alvida has increases her attack by 5% for each weakening effect that the enemies have. This can give her very high attack as she uses her special and ultimate skills that both apply weakening effects. Her second passive skill allows her to apply her weakening effects without having to pass accuracy or resistance checks if the enemy is below 50% HP. It also prevents the enemy from gaining stacks of tolerance for weakening effects even when the weakening effects are applied. This is helpful for teams that run high resistance Elunes like Lesker or resistance buffers like Majet. Alvida's third passive increases the souls required by 1 for each weakening effect that Alvida has. This means that if Alvida has a weakening effect, the enemy team's skills that consume soul will require +1, making a special skill that normally uses 4 soul require 5 souls to use it. This increases as the number of weakening effects on Alvida increases. Alvida can be somewhat versatile with the gear that you use on her and will mainly depend on the role you wish to use her for. If you want her as a debuffer and damage dealer, Great Spirit full set of 6 would be a good choice, allowing her a chance to take multiple turns to apply her debuffs and do more damage to the enemy team. If you want her to use in a more DPS role, the Baron J full set is a nice choice. It allows her to have a high crit rate with the full 6-piece set and allows her to do high amounts of damage. A third good set to use on Alvida would be mainly for PvP purposes, and that's the Full Moon set. This set allows her to have a higher chance to land their weakening effects as well as reflect status effects back to the attackers. Let's take a quick look at skill gems on Alvida. The normal skill effect gain is minor in terms of chance to apply the effect of reducing evasion, and using more physical damage or crit rate gems could be a good alternative. Her special skill gem effect is also minor and has a very low chance of reducing the enemy crit rate. Again, using gems that increase damage, crit rate, or the skill's built-in weakening effect would be a good choice. Alvida's ultimate skill gem effect is, like the others, minor and has a very low chance to apply. Like the special skill gems, more damage, crit rate, or the built-in weakening effect increase would be a good alternative. In summary, Alvida has a nice skill set for weakening the attack and speed of the enemy teams with her AoE attacks, and the passive that can ignore enemy resistance to do so. She can also be quite effective as a DPS and is usable in boss fights for her weakening effects.